Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Friday, October the 14th. It's our NFL edition. And like every Friday, I'm joined by the man the sports books are referring to these days as the Thailand Terror, Jesse Schule, who's hitting over 80% of his picks, college football and NFL combined this season. How are you, Jesse?
I'm doing well, Ross, and I'm feeling really good about this weekend.
Yeah, I would think you would be. I mean, it's not like you're waiting for the roof to cave in. That's for sure. So Jesse, you could find him at jesseschule.com. You can find him at picksandparleys.net. You can find him at sportsmemo.com. You can find him at pickadvisor.com and several other sites if he wants to mention it. But I think I could speak for Jesse when I say if you could purchase from him at jesseschule.com, it would be deeply appreciated. Agree, Jesse?
Yes, and the only thing I would add to that is follow me on social media. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. I don't do the TikTok thing. I'm too old for that, but I'm a good follow on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter as well.
Yeah, and your Twitter address, Jesse?
At Jesse Schule, just my name.
Okay, so
Jesse.
at Jesse Schule is his Twitter handle, and jesseschule.com is his website. And Jesse, number one on a lot of sites in the NFL and college football. But I have to say something here, Jesse, and I know you love me, so you're gonna allow me to say this. I'm number one in the NFL at Sports Memo through the first 5 weeks in the NFL regular season, and Jesse's number two. Not bad, but college football, this guy's knocking at that. College football, Jess?
I believe I'm number one at Sports Memo. I'm hovering around the number one spot at plenty of other sites, but it was the NFL last week that really made money for me. Yeah. 5-0 for the week, all dogs. So I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's always gratifying when you cash in with dogs, especially if they win straight up, right, Jesse? Because now
three of the five did win straight up.
There you go. You always look brilliant when you have a dog and it wins straight up. So not that you're not brilliant anyway.
And Ross, one of those dogs was the Cowboys, which we gave out last Friday on this show.
There you go. So if you paid attention to the show, you got one of Jesse's premium paid selections for free. So there you go. All right, Jesse. Yeah, I went 4-1 last week in the NFL, folks. My NFL, by the way, my NFL 10-star top plays this year, perfect 6-0. After last night's win with the Washington Commanders, I'll take it. I didn't deserve it. I thought that Chicago blew plenty of opportunities to win that game. But you know what? I was 4-1 last week. My only loser was the Commanders when they threw an interception on 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line with 30 seconds to go. So it made up for last week. That's the way I look at it. It all evens out. Even though a lot of guys will tell you every bad break goes their way, I'm not one of them. And Jesse, not a lot of bad breaks have gone your way, have they?
Not so far, but there's still plenty of season to come.
There we go. Keeping it real. Anyway, Jesse, you got a free pick for us in the NFL on Sunday. I'm real curious to hear your objective opinion on this game because it's a game of interest to me for obvious reasons that we know. And, Buffalo and Kansas City, huge matchup here. Arguably the two best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I think they are. I mean, Aaron Rodgers still a good quarterback. I don't know if you want to consider him great anymore. And it doesn't help when you have that cast of characters at wide receiver he has. Not a very impressive group. Tom Brady, I'm starting to see he's starting to show his age a little bit. And who knows, his head's not screwed on right either, Jesse, So, again, I'm getting off track here. I'll let you take the floor and tell us what you know about this Buffalo and Kansas City game.
Well, Ross, like you said, it's a particular interest to you, but I think that goes for the rest of us too. I mean, this is the game of the year. Everybody's been waiting for it since last year. And of course, the media has been hyping this up since last year's playoffs as well. But I got a bit of a bone to pick with the way they described that game. People are calling it the coin flip game, and they complain about the ending in overtime, and they wanted to change the rules because it was such a bad break for Buffalo. How they ended up losing in overtime, and they didn't get a chance to respond. Let me tell you, the game was lost in the last 13
I
seconds of
agree,
regulation.
Jesse. I agree
When you
wholeheartedly.
can't punt the
Yeah,
ball and kill 13 seconds off the clock, they should have lost just on that alone.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you
That
know
was
that the game was
unforgivable.
over right then and there
Yeah,
when they
and
couldn't kill that
I
13 seconds.
think that the majority of people, I'm sure there's a big cast of Buffalo Bills fans that jumped on the bandwagon with that excuse about it's a coin flip game. But at the end of the day, I think it's the NFL viewers in particular that saw probably one of the best games we've seen in the last 20 years with this, especially considering the high stakes involved, and it ended that way. So it's a double-edged sword, but you're absolutely right, Jesse. In my opinion, as well. You scored you scored a go-ahead touchdown with 13 seconds to go. You decide to kick it out of the end zone, and the other team gets the ball in a 25, Kansas City. I mean, and there's only 13 seconds to go. How in God's name did they end up in field goal range? In within that 13 seconds is just another story to behold. Anyway, I'm taking your time away from you, Jesse. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, if it was a movie, it wasn't supposed to end that way. You know, when Josh Allen got them into the end zone with 13 seconds left, it felt like the passing of the torch. It felt like we are watching the Buffalo Bills take over the NFL. Josh Allen is passing Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the league, and it wasn't Josh Allen's fault that the defense
No,
let the
no.
game go. So we have a chance to right some wrongs. Huge revenge angle, but I'm not a guy that bets on games based on revenge angles solely. Um, but let's look at why this game could be different. So last year's game, like I said, the Bills should have won. You go up 36-33 with 13 seconds left, you're going to win 99 out of 100 times. And again, in last year's game, Tyreek Hill had 11 receptions for 150 yards and a touchdown. You know how many yards he's going to get in this game? None, because he's not going to be there. And the guys they got replacing him, not bad guys, but they're not Tyreek Hill. So both teams are 4-1. The Bills' only loss came against Miami. They had the edge in total yards, 497 to 212. Again, you do that 100 times, you're going to win 99 of those games. So they also had an edge 31-15 in
Jesse,
first
if I
downs
could
in that game.
if I could interrupt, I can't help but hearing this that's been the story of the Buffalo franchise since the early 90s. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, hopefully they got it out of their system. But Buffalo comes in with the number one ranked offense, number one ranked defense. Josh Allen leads the league in passing yards, also has the best quarterback rating in the league. And, you know, a lot of pundits are looking at this. Oh, Kansas City is a home dog. Well, yeah, but it's less than a field goal. And if you're really worried about it, just take Buffalo on the money line, and then nobody, you know, and then it's just whoever wins the game. And the way I think I'm going to do this, because when I saw last week the Raiders were up 17-0 in the second quarter against these Kansas City Chiefs. You know what Patrick Mahomes calls that, Ross?
What's that?
I've got you right where we want you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to be told in that statement when it applies to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes.
But the Chiefs are notorious for coming out flat. They tend to win games in the third and fourth quarter. This is a big game for Buffalo. I expect them to come out like gangbusters. And I think the best bet for this game is Buffalo first half money line. I hope they take a lead to the locker room at halftime.
There you go. And just a retort to that. And of course, it's no disrespect to Jesse, but you know, the retort to that is yes, Kansas City is a great second half team, but Buffalo in the first 5 games has allowed 7 points in the second half all year. So we'll see. Something's got to give. I don't think that's going to be the case against Kansas City. If it is, boy, oh boy, they're in good shape to win the game. So, in any event, Jesse likes Buffalo in the first half in that game against Kansas City, minus 135. He's predicting that Kansas City will come out flat. The Buffalo will jump on him. And he's not willing to go into the second half and take Buffalo because of what he just alluded to. And those good reasons. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. So, and look, how could you argue with a guy who's doing as well as he's doing right now? NFL and college football, you have your combined record just out of curiosity, Jesse?
44-10.
44-10. Folks, if I would have heard a claim like this, and I didn't know Jesse, I would be doing my research left and right. And you should be too, because you'll be surprised to know that barring a win or loss on different sites because of a half point or a point differential, you're going to find his record to be, if not that, right in that vicinity. So
I should clarify, Ross. I do play it a little bit differently than some guys, and I'm not afraid to take a money line favorite, not in the high price, 2-1 range, but it's not uncommon to see me take a team that's a favorite by 2.5 points and then go with the money line at minus 150. I'm not afraid to do that because my goal is to hit at a higher percentage, and obviously I'm doing that. So if there's any criticism to hitting 80% with football, it's that sometimes I play favorites.
Yeah, and sometimes if you lose a 160, 170 favorite, you got to win 2 games to make it up. But look, I mean, when you're 44-10, who's going to argue with that? It's definitely against my philosophical thinking when it comes to betting on the NFL or college football. I do like to use the money line if I like the favorite and they're 2.5 or less, and I can get 135 or less. But again, what works for one might not work for another, and it's just something I've abided by throughout my career. And Jesse has found a lot of success in doing so. So JesseSchule.com is Jesse Schule is his name. JesseSchule.com is where you could find his picks. You could also find him at picksandparleys.net, sportsmemo.com, sportscapping.com, and several other sites across the web. Former handicapper at covers.com before Covers shut down their selling picks. And anybody who knows anything about this industry, if you are a handicapper at Jesse or at covers.com, you are held in high esteem, and Jesse fell in that category. Anyway, enough of kissing Jesse's ass. Now it's time for me to give my pick. And look, I'm a perception guy, right, Jesse? I mean, you know me by now, the way I think, and I know the way you think. And we have conversations off air that are, in my estimation, are good for both of us because we see each other's mindset. It does, because we have philosophical differences on occasion. We both have open minds to hearing why each other does certain things in certain situations. So one of my things is perception. Okay, so we're looking at the Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh game on Sunday, and right now Tampa Bay is an 8.5 point home favorite. Look, Pittsburgh's coming off a game last week in which they were annihilated by Buffalo, 38-3, never in the game from start to finish. And it's fresh in their mind, the public. And not only that, after winning that opening game at Cincinnati, which was a huge win for the Steelers, they've dropped 4 in a row now. They did start their rookie quarterback last week, Kenny Pickett. And you know what? Even though they lost 38-3, I know this sounds absurd, Jesse, but I really liked the way he looked. I mean, he was very poised. And the bottom line is you're making your NFL debut as a starting quarterback. You're doing it in front of 75,000 fans that are delirious all the time if you've ever been to a game in Buffalo. So it's not the best environment to start your NFL starting quarterback career. And also they got behind and the element of the run was taken out of the equation, and the kid had to be basically play left-handed the rest of the game. So I think he's going to have a better game this week. I think this kid is a solid quarterback. I think he's going to be a real good quarterback in due time. And Tampa Bay coming off an unimpressive. They've been unimpressive all year, Jesse. 21-15 at Atlanta. They got a big break on that roughing the quarterback call on Tom Brady. I don't know if you saw that. That was
I
absurd.
did see that.
What was your
But
feeling on it?
my feeling is it's not that's not that rare these days. That's you watch enough games, that's happening in every second game.
Yeah, it's just what is a defensive player supposed to do? I get it, slamming the guy with your entire body weight. I get it, the hit to the heads automatically called. I get that. Okay, but that to me was in essence a textbook sack and a textbook way to sack the quarterback within the rules. But evidently, that wasn't seen that way by that official who threw the flag, and we move on. But in any event, Tampa Bay, again, Tom Brady, I was worried about this before the season started. And the more and more I look at his performance line over the first 5 games of the year, statistically, he's okay. You know what I mean? But he just doesn't seem like the same Brady. His head's not screwed on right. He's going through a divorce with his wife. It's been well publicized. It's in the news all the time. So yeah, I just don't think he's the Tom Brady, the best version of Tom Brady right now. In Pittsburgh, by the way, after allowing 35 points or more under Mike Tomlin, since he's been the head coach in 2008, the Steelers have gone 11-2-2 against the spread and 12-3 straight up in those situations after allowing 35 or more in a previous game. Also, Pittsburgh, excluding pushes, Pittsburgh has gone 9-2 straight up in ATS as a home dog off a straight up loss in their last 11 with Mike Tomlin. So they've been in this situation before under this current head coach and coaching staff for the most part, and they've responded well. And I think they'll respond well in this game. I just think that this is a game that everybody's going to jump on Tampa Bay because the way Pittsburgh has not only looked last week, but looked in the last 4 weeks. And Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. Anytime you get Brady, people are going to bet on Brady automatically. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh plus the 8.5 at home against Tampa Bay. And I do have a betting angle, okay? Anytime you have a non-division home underdog that's coming off a non-division away underdog where they were an away underdog of plus 10 or greater, and they did not cover, and they failed to cover by 4 or more, and they scored 13 or less. That's a lot to comprehend, but I'll go over it again. Non-division home underdogs coming off a game in which they were an away underdog of 10 or greater, and they failed to cover by 4 or more, and they scored 13 or less. Teams in that situation in non-division games, those home underdogs, 23-2 against the spread, 92% since 2007. I'm going to take the Steelers here, and I'll even go out on a limb and say this game's going to go down to the wire, and it would not shock me whatsoever to see the Steelers win this game outright. However, I'm not going to be foolish or greedy. And I am going to take the points that are afforded to me. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 8.5 over Tampa Bay. And Jesse Schule likes. Tell them who you like, Jesse, and what you got coming up this week.
Buffalo Bills, first half money line. I do have 3 NFL plays posted already, 5 college football plays, and I'm dying to get that yellow jumpsuit on again for all my followers on Twitter.
You're a character. The Thailand Terror. They're calling
I like
him
that,
all the
Ross.
sports books. The Thailand Terror, man. He's tearing them up, man. Sports books are in fear of
Well, you know how I do it, right, Ross?
What's that?
You know how I do it, right?
No, go ahead.
Well, it's already Saturday here.
Okay, there you go. So you're seeing the results before they come in. I knew there had to be some kind of catch. Anyway, you can find me at rbwins.com, folks. Off to a 22-10 start in the NFL, ranked number 1 at Sports Memo, top 5 at a lot of other sites that I'm monitored at, including a lot with Jesse, where he's either ahead of me or in the one particular instance just behind me, and that's because it's based on units earned. because he has a better win percentage, even though I'm hitting
And
69%.
and that's when those money line favorites come back to bite you in the ass,
Yeah, I
maybe.
wanted to say that earlier. That's probably the only difference. You know what I mean? Because with your record in the NFL and college football, that's the only way you're not going to be on top. But having said that, who could argue with 44-10 combined, folks? Anyway, I will have 7 college football picks up for Saturday. Sunday, I will have 4 to 5 NFL picks up. Again, my NFL 10-star top plays, which are equivalent to anybody else's best bets, 6-0 this year. My NFL primetime games, I 10-2 on the year, and that includes 10-1 with my last 11, including last night with Washington over Chicago. Any final thoughts before we go, Jesse?
Just really excited about this weekend. Some big games, not just this Buffalo Kansas City game, but the Alabama Tennessee games is another one in college that you're going to want to catch as well. So
yeah,
definitely don't miss the action this weekend.
Looking forward to it, Jesse, and looking forward to talking to you again next week, next Friday. Until then, for Jesse Schule and Ross Benjamin, we like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care. God bless. And don't forget to give us a like.